Planning a wedding is a wonderful experience, and if you're like many other couples, this might be a little daunting, especially if you don't know where to start from. So, I invite you on an adventure where I help you uncover how to plan your wedding yourself, and we'll be using the letters A to Z as anchor points for our discussion. Does this sound interesting to you? Well, it does to me, and I'm excited, so let's get started. Hey there, I'm Kemi, an on demand wedding planner, and I help engage couples with the guidance and coaching needed to navigate the wedding planning journey. Need help with brainstorming, tips and tricks, or just a listening ear? I'm the girl to call. So, let's connect. So let's get into today's discussion. Like I said earlier, we'll be going from letters A to Z and covering the various tips on how you can plan your wedding yourself. In today's discussion, we'll be starting with letter A. A as in advice. Advice as in the guidance given, suggesting what you should do. Now, before you think of exiting this video, I think you should listen to this. This is one advice that you want to receive. See what I did there? Okay, so we'll be going over advice as in what's the fuss about advice anyways? Are they important? Whom should you be getting advice from? How should you seek advice? And more importantly, what do you do with the advice that you receive, either if you wanted them or not? And we'll get to that eventually. So, what's the fuss about advice anyway? Well, let's just put one thing out there. If you're engaged, you are automatically entered into the pool for receiving advice. Period. People just want to share advice with you once they know you are engaged. Probably because they think there's something you should know, and rightfully so. There are some things you should know once your status changes from boyfriend, girlfriend, or just hanging out to now being in a serious relationship that is headed somewhere, headed towards matrimony in this case. So you get engaged, you receive advice, just take it and don't stress about it. Advice also comes from people, like I said, who think that there are some things that you should know, mostly well-meaning people. Now, there are some people who are not as well-meaning as others, and they probably just want to give advice as a form of show-off. So they want to show off their societal status, probably they are older than you and they just want to give advice, say something. And some just want to rub it in your face that they probably have been in a relationship longer than you, and probably they've learned one or two things on the streets of engagement. We never know. But those are some reasons why advice fly all over the place. Now, are advice important? I think so. I think a good advice is important. There are probably a zillion quotes out there about advice and giving advice and getting advice, but we can just agree that getting good advice is important. And it's important because, like the definition says, it gives you the guidance that is needed. It helps you to figure out what is important and what is not, what is good and what is not, what you should do in several situations, how to manage various aspects, and especially in the world of wedding planning, as you are planning this wedding and of course planning your marriage afterwards. It's good to get advice. Advice also helps you to learn from the experience of others. So you do not need to make the same mistakes that other people have made. You can instead just listen to them share their advice with you, and you can learn if you are open to learning. And I think it's good to, as much as it's good to receive advice, it's good also to be open to learning from the experience of other people. Some things that advice offers are it helps to minimize mistakes, like we had said. It also helps to minimize wastage. As we go along with wedding planning discussion, we would understand what wastage, really might mean in this case. But we can put it as simply as how to save money, things to not bother with the wedding planning, with the wedding celebration, things that you can find cheaper or alternate options for. So those are things that a good advice would offer you. And it also helps to identify unrealistic expectations. Some couples have probably thought, oh, we're gonna come, make a grand entrance into our reception and come down from a hot air balloon. You see, I was almost choking on it. Hot air balloon. And then they found out, no, this is not an idea to do. And you're talking with them and say, hey, I'm gonna come in an hot air balloon. They can tell you, no, just don't bother considering that. Now, I don't know where the idea of the hot air balloon came from, but it does sound a little ridiculous for your wedding. But anyways, yeah, that's one advice that you probably know you shouldn't be taking. So, how should you get advice, or actually, whom should you get advice from? Once you announce that you are engaged and getting married, mom is going to give you advice, grandma's going to give you, your best friend, the mailman is going to give you advice, the jeweler is going to give you advice, everybody, even the kid will give you advice. So but you can't just get advice from everybody. So let's see, you should be getting advice from industry experts. So experts like the florist or vendors or even let's say counselors. Those are people who should be giving you advice because they are in the industry. They know what happens, and they can give you advice on how to plan, the cost of things, what options are better, and things like that. So you should be getting advice from industry experts. And that leads us also to experienced people. And experienced people in this case would be people like your parents, because they've been through this journey before. Recently engaged and probably just freshly married couples would also be good points of getting advice from, because they have just been through the phase that you're currently in, and they are living the phase that you are aspiring to. So they've gone through the process, and they probably know a thing or two that can save you a couple of nights of headaches, and just give you some other general guidance. Some other people to get advice from would be well-meaning individuals, so your friends, cousins, just people around you. And I underline the word well-meaning, because not everybody means well. And like we had established earlier, some people give advice just because they want to show off, and they don't really mean well for you. They don't care if you let's not go there. Let's just keep it simple. Well-meaning people. And then you also want to get advice from your spouse. Yes, and I am talking specifically to the ladies here, because I'm a lady, and sometimes we do not give the men the regard that they should. And I have seen this working with couples. Sometimes ladies tend to disregard the suggestions that the men make. And ladies, may I just make a public service announcement here? Men also have wonderful ideas. Yes, men also have wonderful ideas. And it's their day too, and they probably have insight on what they want. They might not have been dreaming of it like you have, but they have things that they've been looking forward to experiencing on their wedding day, because it's their wedding celebration also. So it's good to actually consider the opinion of the spouse, of the lady, if it's the lady giving the advice, or if it's the man giving the advice. Consider the opinion of your spouse in planning the wedding. What do you think about the flowers? What should we do, and things like that. You should consider this. I'd say probably consider this as growing pains or exercise on how to make decisions together even after you've gotten married. Now, how do you seek advice? Well, the very first way is just to ask for it. So you can ask by simply saying, can you advise me on how to do this and this? Can you advise me on how to budget for my wedding planning journey? Can you advise me on how to, let's say, do my seating arrangements? How should I seat people? That's a good topic to go over with your parents, because they probably have expectations, and their friends and family members who should sit together and things like that. Another way is to actually ask questions. So you can ask questions about one or two aspects of the wedding planning experience, and that would lead into people sharing their ideas with you. Another way to get advice is to research. It's to gather insight from people who are actually beyond your reach. So read articles and journals, and flick through the pages of magazines, and just blogs and things like that. You'll be amazed that even dead people give advice. Now, I don't mean anything spooky and you should do this. No, I don't mean all that. I just mean even when you read articles that have been published before your time, you can still find some advice in some good advice in there. So basically, today's video has been about wedding planning advice, and I hope you've come to realize that getting good advice is important. I said good. Even the good would say it's good to get advice. So be willing to get advice, and just be careful in how you manage, in how you adopt those advice. And that's what the next video is going to be about. It's going to be about managing advice, especially unsolicited advice, because there's going to be a lot of people who are waiting eagerly to share with you a thing or two, and you need to have a strategy for how to actually manage the advice when they come pouring in. Today we've gone over if advice are important, whom you should be getting advice from, how to seek advice, and next we'll be going over what to do with the advice that you receive. But anyways, it's been wonderful sharing this platform with you, so I can give a few nuggets or two about how to plan your wedding and how to enjoy the process. Because yes, you should be enjoying your wedding planning journey, not just the wedding day, but the process too. Till we meet again, I am Kelly, and it's been wonderful interacting with you this way. Goodbye now.